Yes, the beautiful sights above Sandown Raceway. Welcome along tonight for the second week of the Aussie doubleheader rounds in the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Esports Cup live on Race Stars TV, driven of course by FRG Esports. My name's Chris Mitchell, your host for tonight. Once again, joining me in commentary, the illustrious and ever so pleasant good evening to Dave Roberts.
Good evening, Chris. I'm a little more wide awake this time. I haven't come off a 6-hour stint at Le Mans and trying to stay awake. And I'm looking at this and going, I must be in dreamland because we're in Melbourne and the sun's shining.
Yeah, that's I've never seen that actually happen before, I don't think. No, tell a lie. It was the peak of summer, and I came to Melbourne and it was 34 degrees and felt like I was in the middle of the desert. But it is nice and sun-shining day around Sandown International Raceway for the fourth round of this series. Of course, we were in Phillip Island last Tuesday night, just 7 days ago, and we find ourselves not too far away, just following Paul Rogers, who writes it off in qualifying.
Yep.
Oh, that's going to hurt.
Yep. And
that's a good way to start.
Yeah. No, I'm quite surprised that the sun's shining at Sandown. I mean, the only reason the sun's shining is because iRacing haven't released rain yet.
Yeah, well, that's also a very, very large truth for the matter. Although, if you're following along in the development updates that I've been posting online, it looks incredible.
It looks like Melbourne.
Yeah, it looks like Melbourne. I'm going to pour one out for everyone's safety rating when that does come out though, in the official race. Because, my goodness, that is going to unleash all forms of chaos to the iRacing world.
Sure
we find
is.
ourselves with 2 minutes to go here in qualifying. Callan Chin and Damon Woods doing the dance at the top of the timesheets already. Benjamin Roberts into third with Zachary Smith and Tom Katsadonis. Yeah, fourth and fifth. Katsadonis is proving a bit quick at this stage. He likes this place.
Yeah, Tom's been very quick of late. He's just got a few mistakes, been in the wrong place at the wrong time, few incidents, but he's had the pace, but he hasn't had the luck. So hopefully that will...
for Tom, though, because there was the Motorsports Australia F3 series about 12 months ago. He pre-qualified really well into the field. We held that qualifying at Sandown as well. I know I qualified and barely scraped in by the hair of my chin, but he did actually qualify quite well into that series, if I recall correctly. So doing well for Tom. He's into fourth from Smith in P5. Of course, Sandown with lots of bumps, lots of technicalities. What's it like to drive around here, Dave?
In the real world, I've driven around the original circuit, which I actually really loved, probably a little bit more than this one. With the full-on causeway under the Dunlop Bridge was pretty scary and cool. But this is a lovely circuit, and I also drove the one that they, when they made a menagerie of it and tried to run Le Mans cars here and created a complete infield, which was just a mess.
That was the international circuit that ended up defunct in 2001.
Yeah, so I drove that as well. And look, it's a great place, the home of motorsport. I grew up sort of 10 minutes down the road from here. So we used to, Dad and I used to be here all the time. So I was always sitting down at Dandenong Road watching all sorts of people. Jimmy McEwen come over there and his Lotus Cortina on two wheels every lap. And I can remember watching some amazing motor racing here. And in the 60s, I was here. I am that old. And I was here watching Jimmy Clark and Chris Amon and their F1 cars. So
Fantastic.
Place has got history.
Sure does. It crossed over 61 years of age just recently. I think it was March 61 years ago. This place opened up. As we get a look at your starting grid here, Callan Chin in the Wave Italy entry starts on pole. Damon Woods in the Dur Esports entry, your championship leader, starts on the outside front row alongside Benjamin Roberts and Tom Katsadonis on the second row. Zachary Smith and Philip Worley on row 3. It's going to be exciting to see Phil Worley back in the hunt again. Rob Bowden having a good qualifying, the Tank SRT entry, starting alongside Jack Mara. Always exciting to watch Jack on track, with Reese Magetz and Paul Rogers starting on the 5th row, with Bailey Evans and Riley McKibben rounding out your 6th row in a field of 26 drivers tonight. Some names there. Ewan Baker further down the field than you would expect
Unusual.
from him. Yeah, down in 14th. It's going to have a hard task here in the sprint.
he's just got to keep it together. There's a long way to go. And there on row 8, we've got Alex Court and Will Ryan. Will and Alex have been really good midfielders, and they're just striving to break into that top one. Now we're waiting for the green, and revs. I can hear some revs rising in the background. Can I? I think we're not far away from a start. We're not far away from a start. We're not very far away from a start now. Kalen Chin was right at the front of the F4 Junior Cup on the weekend too. Just missed out on winning himself a trip to Malaysia for the Junior Academy. So let's see if he can put it right tonight and hold off Damon Woods. Damon was missing on the weekend, surprisingly. Here, revs are up, and we're waiting for the off now. And see, these are hard to get away. Are they all going to get away evenly here, Chris?
It's going to be exciting. The front few rows get away. There's a little bit of a balk up further back in the field. And there's already cars going 3 wide as they make their way down the grid, as Damon Woods looks to the outside line through Penrite for lap number 1. And he holds that outside line, defends down into the chicane. And Damon Woods converts an outside front row to lead the way on the opening lap here into turns 3. Just stretching along the back stretch now. They'll wind these motors up. That was Rogers, I think. We saw Rogers go off during qualifying immediately as we are loaded into the stream back there in the orange number 10 car. So Rogers trying not to repeat that, trying to stay on the racetrack here, as immediately Callan Chin trying to tuck into the toe. Rob Bowden trying to do the same, tucked right up behind Jack Mara. The Scuderia DSR stack of Changi entry as the whole field comes out of turn 9. On the opening lap of the sprint, it's 15 minutes hard and fast racing. This will set the grid for the feature coming up later.
Yeah, it doesn't look much, but it's a very, very technical track, and that little right-left they've just come through there really dictates your lap speed almost every lap. If you get a good exit out of there, which it looks like Chin has in the second place, you can get a really good run on the leader. Very, very bumpy under brakes here into turn 1, and it's an awkward corner. It's a mid-speed, but it's a bit off camber, and there's a big curve on the outside there as we run wide. Riding here with Benjamin Robertson, Ben's right in behind them, and a little bit of curb left, right into the tight second gear. Try and get on early. Use a bit of curb, not too much. If you can get the car with a wheel either side, and it'll run along the bottom, and it just takes you straight into the fence. You got to be really careful there. Now run up the back straight. There's quite a big hill. It's a real climb with the race car in low revs, high gear. Toe makes a lot of difference, and it depends but it does depend which way the wind's blowing. So looks like Chin's made a mistake there down into the braking, and Roberts is through into second. Wow, yeah, that was a little mistake and a big difference. Yeah,
that really cost him a bit there. He was lucky to pull the car up and keep it on the racetrack down at the exit of turn 9 at Dandenong Road, as we ride on board with Tom Katsadonis, who got the prime time view of all of that, and he just slots in right behind Callan Chin in P4, and is he sitting right in front of Phil Worley. There's a fair few of these red machines. The red rockets up front from the simrigs.com entries. There's a fair few in the team here. Look at this. Benny Roberts going for the opportunistic move. Got the toe on Damon Woods and grabs the race lead into turn 1. Benny Roberts having a great turn of his night so far. He's starting off pretty strong. And leads coming out of turn 4 over Woods back there in second. Oh, that was a bit tight at the back. Was that Worley? Did he touch the wall?
P5 is Worley, and he did touch the wall. That's what I was saying about you get straddled on that curb and you can't get off it. So that you've got no wheels on the ground. You watch here, he comes out, he gets up on that curb. See, the car's running on the bottom, and it runs to the fence. I've done that in the real world, and it's scary because you can at least hit reset. I'm going down and going, oh, how much is this going to cost?
Well, a ticket to the hospital.
I managed to miss the wall. Now somebody else has gone off there over the top.
It's Baker with Janet.
That is really unusual to see you and it. Whether someone else was involved, maybe Luke can find out for us.
Yeah, I think there's been someone else involved in that one. They're into each other down at the final chicane. That's James Glasspool getting smashing into the back of Greg Bradley under brakes into the final chicane. That's going to put both of them in a position. Now, it looks like Greg's car might have gotten lucky on the netcode here, but we're going to check out the incident from further behind. It's Ewan Baker and the 221 getting into each other at high speed.
Ooh, gee, he didn't leave him a lot of room, and I think Ewan deserved a bit more road up there than he was given, because, you know, he was well up beside the guy, whoever that was, who's in 221. That would be...
Who is 221 on our...
Is Bailey Evans. Bailey Evans in 221, but I think Bailey should have given him a little bit more room. He'd earned the right to be there. Oh, and that is just, that was just a bit over the top. Who was that?
Yeah, that was a knock-on incident with Greg Bradley involved. As
yeah, but who was the other car?
It was another one of the sim race cars. I think it was James Glasspool. The 979 entry, so that's it's costly for those guys as we go back to Benny Roberts.
There's really not a lot of point in diving up the inside of that last section, because all you do is slow yourself down. The guys in front run away, and if you pass somebody, they'll pass you straight back down the front straight anyway. So it's really, it's a silly move. You might as well just, you know, keep your cookies dry and use them when they're, use them 2 minutes later when you got a nice big long straight, get a run. And that's about the racecraft. We talk about racecraft. Oh, somebody's spearing off there in the background. Yes, there it is. Phil Worley. Now, luckily, he's pulled that back on. Very little issue with that. But boy, he speed off at speed in the background there. He probably lost it a little bit under the bumps at the thing. As you turn in, you get really. So there he goes. It just snapped in. Nice catch, Phil.
Yeah, well done for Phil Worley to save that one.
Moment there.
As we go back to the race lead, Benny Roberts, we're looking from his gearbox back onto Damon Woods in second. And Benny Roberts has had a bit of a rough run of late, it must be said. He's been up and down the finishing order, and he comes into tonight's round still in 4th position, but only managed to salvage 6 points, a solid 6 points from Phillip Island last week for round 3.
Isn't it great to see him back out in front, Chris? I mean, Ben is just, he's a absolute fantastic competitor. He's always out there. He's always fast. He's always giving it a go, and he doesn't whinge. He doesn't carry on. He just loves his motor racing, and you know, it's great to see him back out in front and taking it to Damon and Kalen. That's really nice to see.
It's fantastic. He leads the way at the moment. We look back at Brody Shepherd, the Vermilion Sim Sports entry, car 55, currently holding on. He's racing right onto the rear gearbox of Damien Cairns in the Accelerate Sim Racing entry. And Damien, a bit of an open wheel convert, even by his own admission, as well. Someone firing into the fence further behind him coming out of
I think he's done enough now. We can call him an open wheeler.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I see him in these more often than I see him in anything else. And seriously, after you've driven one of these, who would want to drive a supercar? It's like a taxi.
Well, the trick is what wheels he's using. He's using a four-wheeler-shaped wheel, so Damien Cairns is fully converted. He's made the switch to the Cinematic wheel. Oh, no!
At the wrong time.
Oh, no. Damien caught up with Brody Shepherd in the 55 car.
Oh, and that looks like is that Will Ryan backing off the curb there as well? Oh, and there's a wing.
Carnage.
Car 96. That's Brody Tressiter, or at least it's his wing. I haven't seen him, but that's his wing.
That was Brody Tressiter. We just saw going past the camera shot there in the 96. Standing against giving us a thumbs up. At least he's letting us know that he's okay. Oh, man, as soon as we got him shot through, that's got to hurt.
Yeah. I think he does it on purpose, you know. He's one of those, you know. It stars in his eyes, you know. And here we go, 3 abreast up over the top of Rothman's Rise. Oh.
Bailey Evans topping himself a 10-second penalty there for causing the incident.
That's that one with Ewan Baker up over the top. I said so. I thought Ewan deserved a bit more room.
Well, he did. You've got to leave a space always. And amongst all the carnage and the chaos, we took our eye off the ball for a second, and Damon Woods in the Esports entry has gone back to the point. Benny Roberts back to second. Kalen Chin just tucking in behind.
The fight's not over, Chris.
No,
the fight is not over. Look at this. Damon's being a lot more protective of that inside line this time, isn't he? And here comes Benny around the outside. Can he do it? He's earned the right to some road. Yep, I'm happy with that one. Can he get down the inside? Not quite. Oh, this is tight. Oh, there's a biff. That was a bit of a biff from behind. I think Benny's got a little bit sideways, backed off, and Kalen's just touched him from the rear. I don't think there was any misdemeanor in that, but it was certainly, that's close racing. You have a look here. See, Ben's clopped a bit of curb and had to lift off, and Kalen's just tagged him from behind. So
yeah.
I hope that.
Good thinking from Kalen really quick there. Watch this as he tags him, and Kalen immediately gets off the gas and steers into the crash, which allows them to both kind of recover a lot quicker. If Kalen had tried to go right hand down right at this moment here, and then it could have been a lot worse.
Sandown is really tight down there. Those little corners, you've really got to. I always leave a little bit of room through there to the car in front, because it's so easy to have an issue, and I'm always leaving room because I don't need to be right on their tail until I get out of the last one, because you're not going to pass anybody through that section. You're just setting yourself up to get the run onto the back straight, because you're going to pass them up the back straight. So I think these guys, they're learning that sim racing. That's what this is all about, is learning your racecraft. But there's a lot of racecraft to be learned out here.
There's two different stories being told right now. Check this out with the live camera view on the bottom right of the screen. There's two different stories to see right now. Nick Botterill on the left of screen, out there getting to work and having a big old crack at it. He's 24th on the racetrack, whereas his teammate, Scott Bartain, parked up in pit lane, going absolutely nowhere. So two very different sets of stories.
So what? Has he not got a faster pit?
I'm not entirely sure for Botterill. Maybe he had already used it. Sorry, for Bartain, because he's only completed 6 laps, so finds himself in the pit lane quite extensively. So Scott was caught up in this incident here with Will Ryan. So let's see this down into turn 9. I think Ryan gets caught up in the crash in front of him, and bang, there you go.
I think there were 2 accidents there, because I think that Damien Cairns is a separate accident to Will Ryan's by the look of that.
Yeah,
this is just what I was going to say. Can I get the... So watch, there's an accident in the front 3 here where somebody tried to go down the inside and clobbered the back of Damien Cairns, and then there's an accident further back as well. So that's,
Will Ryan was never gonna make the corner come hell or high water, and he just went spearing into the back of the next car. And then there's even a third incident that happened. That was the wing that we saw coming off the 96 car of Brody Tressida, and saw that unfolding. So unfortunate for 3 separate incidents that happened at the same corner.
I haven't actually driven an F4 around here, but I think I've got a feeling these guys may be flat over the top here at Rothmans and down to the second. Oh, God, that's a lot of curb that Damon's using there.
It was that flat in the F3 back in the day. I know the real world F3, speaking with a friend of mine, John Macro, who's a former Australian drivers champion with those cars. He is just about flat with the older spec F3 cars around here.
You can't do it in a Formula Ford, but I was in the new little LMP3 car that iRacing have released, and that's like 270 kilometres an hour flat over the top of Rothmans. It's a lot of fun.
That's lyingly quick as we go on board with Paul Rogers. So the incident that we saw with Benny Roberts and Kalen Chin just flashing up on our screen is under investigation. We both have our opinions on that there, Dave. I don't think we're going to see much come from that.
I felt that was a bit of a racing incident. I thought, it was just they were very, very close together. That's all.
But the stewards are doing their job. That's what they're there to do, and that's what makes FRG such a fantastic
series. And they make the decision,
series.
not us, don't they, Chris?
That's right, because buggered if we'd be making the decisions, everyone would be bad.
We used to do that. I don't want to do it anymore.
So we'll leave that in the capable hands of the troublesome trio in the stewards room this evening. Lockie Capel, Drew Koister, and Ty Ratcliffe currently at work in the stewards room, and just
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something about the stewards here, and it's one of the big differences with FRG, and it's something I really love about these guys, is that Rue in particular leads the whole thing with an idea of he wants everybody to be able to race. So it's not overly, if you do something wrong, you get penalised, but there are a lot of racing incidents because guess what? We're all racing. It is racing, and incidents do happen, and they don't try and penalise everybody for everything. If you're trying to get down the inside and you outbrake it and you lose a little bit and there's an accident, not always is it, you're at fault. Sometimes it's just a racing incident. And I think they've got a really nice balance in all of the FRG series, where they got a lovely balance between that racing and penalty, so you feel like you can actually race, not run around and be, oh yes sir, after you, and no sir, oh before you, oh would you like to go first, let me get you an invite into the corner, because that's what some of the series out there are like.
And it is somehow some people prefer to race, and that must be said as well.
I don't. It's not racing.
No, you and I are very, very stout against that kind of racing. We like getting the elbows out. It's vehicular combat at some stages, but that's what racing is. And we applaud the nature and the good nature of the people in FRG as we go to white flag, 1 to run here, as we see no further action on Callan Chin for causing that incident. We go back to your race leader, Damon Woods. Let's follow him around as he comes through the chicane at turns 2, 3, and then into 4, just using every last inch of the road very nicely. A little touch of the exit curving at turn 4. He's rocking the plain white helmet. You know you're pro when you look like the Stig, as he charges up the hill towards turn 6.
And look at the rest of our podium there. Isn't it great to see Tom Katsadonis on P2 and Jack Marin, the hot diggity dog, Jack. You're up on 3rd place.
It's going to be a great start to his night as he rips on past into that very fast-flowing 6, 7, 8, 9 section at the top of the hill, down Dandenong Road now, before you start to make your return run back towards the main pit complex as Damon Woods, the Esports entry, comes on out of the final turns and runs it to the line for a beautiful drive here in the sprint. Just a 15-minute race to set the grid for your feature. Tom Katsadonis across the line in 2nd. Jack Mara 3rd. Philip Worley, a strong drive to come home P4. Zachary Smith rounding out your top 5. From Rob Bowden, Callan Chin down 6 spots after that incident. Paul Rogers in the 8th. Good for Paul to keep it on the racetrack and move up 2 spots in the race over Riley McKibben. And Benny Roberts finishing P10 again after that incident with Callan Chin down at turn 3.
Well, it's good to see that Kalen and Ben are both still in the top 10. That still puts them in a position they can make a challenge in the feature race. Really nice to see Zachary Smith there in the top 5 as well. Didn't mention a lot of Zachary, but he's sort of new to. I'm going to say he's new to that lead group, but he's always been close. But he's right on it tonight, so that's really good to see. Damon, again, just managed to stay out of trouble. He's always got that, just able to stay out of trouble, it seems, and get that little break, and away he goes. It doesn't take much for him you can't show much opportunity to Damon before he grabs it by both hands.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about saying he's always able to stay out of trouble. Last Tuesday night was certainly a night to forget for Damon Woods. As we check your finishing result from the sprint, Woods taking the win by eventually 2.4 seconds over Tom Katsadonis in the Simrigs entry back there in 2nd. Jack Mara, the Scuderia DSR Snakachangi entry, another 0.8 of a second adrift in 3rd from Worley and Smith, and Bowden, Chin, Roberts, McKibben, Benjamin Roberts rounding out your top 10. Harry Lawrence there in the 11th spot. Alex Court in P12. That's a good result there for Alex. Reese Magetz falling down the order to P13. From Caleb Dawson and James Glasspool, who was caught up in, I thought he was caught up in that incident earlier. He comes home in P15. So a bit of a wild ride for some of our drivers, but that just sets the scene heading into the feature, Dave.
It does. And, I'm thinking that we'll see Ben Roberts and Callan Chin make a bit of a charge through. I think we might have somebody in our green room, Chris.
Yeah, we do. Welcome back to the top step, even if it is just in the sprint for now. Damon Woods, congratulations.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's good to be back after the misery of last week.
we were just touching on it. We were just talking about it moments ago. Talk me through that race. Sitting behind, you lost a little bit at the start there. Benny kind of got the elbows out on you at the first corner.
Yeah, I mean, that's just fair hard racing, to be honest. Like, I didn't have an issue with it at all. It's just unfortunate that, two and 3 ends up being a one car corner. So, to try and go 2 by 2 through there was, always a risk. And then, obviously to try and keep myself off the curb, I had to try and, slow the car down enough. And unfortunately, he hit the back of me and then yeah, Kalen hit the back of bend, and then yeah, it kind of fell apart from there. But yeah, it was a good race until that point. I was thoroughly enjoying that.
It looked like a lot of fun. Once you got out front, though, back to business as usual, it seems.
Yeah, well, I did my best to try and break the draft from Tom at the end, and yeah, just able to put in some consistent laps and pull away.
So what's the secret here for the feature race? You got a longer race now. What is it? 45 minutes, Dave? I keep forgetting how long we go racing.
Yeah, I think it is, Chris. I forget as well. Time's not my friend.
What's the secret here, Damon? Trying to manage fuel. You're expecting maybe a safety car.
Or I mean, I was expecting a safety car in the sprint race, and there wasn't one. So, you know, with a longer race, people might be a bit more sensible. So we'll see. But I think the goal is just trying to break that toe. You know, if I can break that, I think I might be able to just drive away, which, you know, is always a good thing when you're up front.
Well, you finally said it. You said the sensible word, and now we're going to have an absolute chaotic time for our feature race. So best of luck to you, and we look forward to maybe seeing you back on the podium in the feature race coming up.
Thanks very much.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
We'll let Damon get on back on track. I was just reviewing the championship standings and how things worked out from last week. Of course, you score points, Dave, for both the sprint and the feature race.
You do.
So every race counts in the overall championship here for the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Esports Cup. However, sprint race points are only 30 points, and it's worth double that to win the feature. So despite Damon finishing P5 in the feature last week, considering that he finished P25, he didn't score any points in the sprint race. He only came home with a handful of points overall. That really hurt his cause coming into this fourth round, but he still does lead the championship by a nice healthy margin. It's 53 points to lead back to Callan Chin on account that Callan missed the first round.
And while you've been talking, Chris, I think the weather's had 4 seasons. It's typical Melbourne. A minute ago, it looked like it was raining. It's sunny again now. I'm waiting for the wind to blow. Are we going to get some hail? Anybody got any bets?
Oh, well, unless iRacing...
Oh, we're back to sun. Look at that, we're back to sun again.
So unless iRacing have snuck the extra development in without anybody noticing, although usually Tuesday nights are downtime nights for when they push the updates on iRacing. Usually comes in, well, for me in Perth, about 9 p.m. my time, usually.
They've got to have a weather update. It's got live feed of Melbourne weather.
Currently it's 22 degrees outside, 26 degrees on track, partly cloudy, coming up at 20 to midday in mid-late August at Sandown, and for whatever reason the sun is actually shining over Sandown International Raceway as we run down the final few seconds in the warm-up, and it's time, Dave, to get ready, buckle up for a solid 45-minute feature race here for the fourth round.
If it wasn't for the orange suits, that could have been you and me standing there having a chat now, Chris.
Oh, well, I was trying to just letting it play out, you know. Could just look like commentary, trackside, you know, talking it out. We'll be the next Matt Nolte and Mr. Johnson. As we look at your starting grid, Damon Woods, after taking the win in the sprint, starts alongside Tom Katsanernis on the outside front row. From row 2, we'll see Jack Mara starting alongside Philip Worley in position 4, Zachary Smith, and then Rob Bowden rounding out the third row of the grid. Callan Chin with a bit of a comeback drive to put on from P7 alongside Paul Rogers on row 4. Then Riley McKibben starting alongside Benjamin Roberts, who led the sprint before getting caught up in that incident at turn 3. He will start from position number 10. Then Harry Lawrence and Alex Court on row 6. Some big names further down the field. Ewan Baker with a lot of work to do out of position 19. Bailey Evans from position 18. And a couple of our names we've been catching up with as well. Damien Cairns in the Accelerate Sim Racing entry down in P22. There's a look at the back of your grid. Of course, Lockie Capel showing up P27 as he's sitting in the safety car, waiting idly as we get set to go for 45 minutes here at Sandown. Green lights come on. Ooh, big drop at the clutch.
Tom Katsanernis has made a cracker start, and Damon's actually failed to get off the line cleanly. He's back in third place. So Katsanernis grabs the lead from Worley. Woods in third. Mara there sitting in fourth and protecting it well. There's a battle there for fifth between Chin and Rogers side by side into this little right-left, and Jack Mara's got a lovely little run onto the back straight there. Let's see if we can get up into that top 3, Jack. You know, you deserve it. Oh, and we've got cars everywhere. There's someone sitting the wrong way there. 60. It's a 55. Car 55 is, let me see.
Brody Shepherd down in 24.
Brody Shepherd.
The Brilliant Sim Sports entry getting caught up. He got caught up a little bit in the sprint
and
as well.
there's somebody else at the back there that looks like 66, was it? Or 88? No, it was 66, I thought. Maybe, I don't know, 69. Oh, we got more black ones. That's Benny Roberts. That's Benny Roberts.
Oh, no.
And, oh, that hurt.
He was trying his best to get out of the way too. And
yeah, he was.
He's got caught up. And Paul Rogers off the road down at the entry to turn 9.
Oh,
There's Benny Roberts trying to rejoin.
Yeah, that's a mess. Unfortunately, Ben. It was so nice to see him running at the front and just, you know, again, trouble. But out front is Katsadonis.
He's doing well. It just shows how bad or how quickly your night can turn as Tom Katsadonis.
The weather's turned again, Chris.
Yeah, it's back to looking like actual Melbourne. iRacing does this thing when it gets dark and everything looks like in primary school we used to edit photos. How just invert colours. It's kind of how it looks right now.
All the shadows disappear and it's just it looks like it doesn't it? It looks like it's raining out there.
It does look like it's raining, despite iRacing not making that possible just yet. We're back on, though, and look at Damon Woods. He's stalking right up onto the back of Phil Worley, who's trying to do the same to Tom Katsadonis, your race leader, as they come out of turn 9 underneath the Penrite side.
And Mara's under attack from Bowden back there. And Callan Chin, surprisingly, got a bit of a gap there to Bowden. He's really got to get his head down and see what he can do about that. I'm hoping he didn't pick up any damage and all that kerfuffle back there in the middle. But, you know, Callan's certainly got the pace to be able to nail or, you know, catch these guys. But it's the Red Sea out the front, and Katsadonis doing a beautiful job. We've got a replay here. Replay of the start from Tom Katsadonis. Here we'll see him off the line. We said he absolutely nailed the start here, and Woods didn't move. So we've got Brody Shepherd moving under brakes at 50. Look at that start. What a rocket start from Tom Katsadonis. Brilliant off the line.
So Tom's been really focused, it seems, on how to get this F1 car launched, because it can be a bit of a nuance with a two-stage clutch setup to really get it back on the bike point. And
Woods up to second, past Worley.
It's a good move
past
there,
Worley. Yep. So he got the run out of I forget what it's called now. I still call it Peter's Corner, but he's got the run and he's nailed him up the back straight over the top and got down the inside down into Dandenong Road. So that puts Woods up to 2. Can he put a challenge together and go for Katsadonis? And don't forget, we've got a pit stop in this race as well, Chris.
We sure do. It's going to take a while before we run down enough fuel to make the pit stop viable, and I'm sure there's quite a few people holding out hope that we might see a safety car and that might help them get a free pit stop, try and pick off a freebie here in the feature race. Katsadonis from Woods, the gap sits about 0.6 of a second at the line last time by, but Damon Woods again just a bit slow off the start, just seems to miss the launch. Maybe has a configuration not quite right. It can really make a big difference with these cars.
They are a difficult car to get off the line on time. But you can get it right, and then once it just goes all wrong and it bogs down.
Yeah.
But, anyway.
Well, I mean, it's got all the horsepower of a sewing machine, so I can imagine it would be pretty easy to bog these things down as we watch Callan Chin through that fast chicane. Rob Bowden's right on top of him.
Bowden. He's just picked off Bowden in the last lap, so Kalen's moved up a 5th, put Bowden back to 6th, and now he's got his sights set on Jack Mara. He's feeling like hot dogs for lunch there, baby.
We watch on from the vantage point on board with Rob Bowden, who's very accomplished within the FRG ranks, is always quick enough to be inside the top 10 wherever he goes, especially in the F3A series. I can't wait to see that come back. I might be trying to get a drive in it.
I'm looking forward to that.
Rob running a bit wide at turn 1, but he gets
curve,
together. Yeah, that can really bite you. Look at him tucking into the chicanes. He's treating those curbs with a bit of caution. That's the sign of a wary race car driver right there, just trying to make sure that they stay out of harm's way and stay out of trouble to maintain that position. He's given up a fair bit of track position to the back of...
His Wood's working on it. He's working on it. But, you know, see down there, Damon doesn't just dive up the inside. He goes, no, that's dangerous. I'll just sit here. It's all about getting a run on the exit rather rather than a dive on the end of the straight. You want to get the run at the start so that you can get up the side of the person. So see, he's hung back here now. He's going to try and get a run through here, get a little bit of speed on, and then use that toe. So he's got that gaining speed on the car in front, and then he can use the toe, and then he can get past them. If you're too close, you can't actually use the toe because you're stuck behind someone.
It's really simple, especially with these cars. You know, they're trying to
Chin past Mara,
as Chin does get past Jack Mara, up to P4 now for Callan Chin. So it's going to be exciting to see what can he do with this car. Now running up on the back of the Simric. What is going on there?
Wheel banging down the main straight. That's a bit real. Oh, that's just.
Oh, no.
What was that all about?
Got Sislowski and Greg Bradley getting stuck into it. That started back on the main straight, and there's another one of the Andrew cars.
That was Andrew Johnson back in the background.
So what's happened there? I wonder whether
that was
a
bit
net code incident or whether there's a legitimate problem. Because look at them down the straight here.
Yeah.
And then they ride a wheel, and Sislowski goes flying through the air, and then
Johnson
Bradley
goes round.
it. Oh. And then, wow, they did a good job to dodge him.
Some nice avoidance back there. I think that will be a subject of much commotion in race control, I would think, that little one, because I'll be looking at why did that happen, you know?
Yeah. How did that unfold, and who's at fault, and who can be blamed?
Now, I'm looking at the gap. Katsudona's 0.1 of a second he's leading by, so I'm not sure what's happening at the front, but it looks pretty on it, and it sure is. And look who's sitting there at fourth and is back on the tail of those guys.
Yeah, getting excited for this as there's plenty more cars
cars
unfolding further behind. Rob Bowden, I think, was going through the grass at one point. He's down there in P7, losing ground.
Sislowski.
That's off the road there. So from
well off the road. I don't see a safety car out of that.
No, I don't see any need for that. He's just going to be seeking permission to tow and trying to get back to the pits.
And Meanwhile, Woods grab the lead.
Makes the move happen at the top of the hill. Nicely done.
He's obviously getting a really good run out of that very tight left-hander onto the back straight. He's got a really good exit out of there, and he seems to be able to capitalise on that with a bit of straight line speed up the hill. So, and look at the gap he's got in there already. And there's Chin back and forth. He's going, I want to be on the back of him, but he's got two cars on the road, and they're both the same colour. They both look identical, and this is going to be good. Keep an eye on Chin. I think he can get through these guys.
Going to take a bit of a send for a Callan to get this job done. You can see he gets a bit at the toe. He's going to play a little peekaboo to the inside, but tucks back in.
It's all about his exit onto the back straight.
Conservation probably the better part of valor in this case right now. It's still very early days in this race, and he's still in touch with the lead pack, so there's probably not the sense of urgency that we're putting on it, or so it seems right now. With plenty of time still to go and a pit stop, he may even be able to get lucky and try and jump a couple of cars in the pit stop. So we'll see what can unfold as we approach the halfway point coming up shortly, with 36 minutes to go here in the feature race for round 4.
I wouldn't mind if our director could get us on board with Tom Katsaronis there. I think it would be quite, well, Tom or Phil Worley, one of those cars there. I think it would be quite an interesting little lap. There we go. Let's follow a whole lap if we can here. Onto the main straight. Now, they're all going to hug the left-hand side here because they're trying to, stop anyone going down the inside, but there's a big enough gap there. They're not really getting the toe. They're not really in it. We're up to 220 kilometres now down to this bumpy braking zone. We'll go probably back to third, not grab second now. We're staying in third. Use a bit of that curb to keep it on line. Back to fourth. Now we've got Kalen trying to run down the outside. Flick it through here as fast as you can. It's all about an exit out of here. If you get the exit right, he's got a little bit of sideways. Now I'm expecting that little bit of sideways is probably going to cost him. I think Kalen might be up beside us by the time we get up the top of the hill. And this is the climb up the back hill under the old bridge. What I used to be up here was the Dunlop Bridge a bit further on. Now it's the United Bridge. But up over the top, are we flat? It sounded flat to me.
Yeah,
and then hard on the brakes and back to second gear, hook it in and try and get a clean exit without getting that curb on the right, because that one will grab your wheels as well. They've high curbs. Now here you come in and it's all about, not about the first corner, it's all about the exit from the second one and trying to again get that run onto the guys. That's really interesting there for a whole lap with Phil Worley, and hey, he's got his hands full. Look right behind him.
Yeah, he's probably watching more in the mirrors right now than he is watching the racetrack in front of him as Callan Chin goes for the inside move, pulls out of the toe, and gets it done nicely down into turn 1. So it was only really a matter of time, and the little errors across that lap costing Phil Worley enough time to set Callan up beautifully as he comes out of turn number 4. Now, interesting to note in the background, Luke telling us it wasn't flat at the top of the hill here. So
not flat. There we go.
They're almost going flat. They're just fair to bring off the tiniest bit.
Because we don't get the sound from the race feed that we're looking at, so I can't pick whether it's flat or not. But I can, because I'm going to go on board.
You're an
I'm going to go on board my other. Okay.
We'll let you go.
I will listen. I've now got. I'm
going to listen out.
Yeah, I'm on board with Callan Chin on my other screen. Oh no, yeah.
So back at the pointy end, Damon Woods in the Dua Esports entry leads the way. 33 minutes to go. A 5-second penalty coming up for Ewan Baker. His night goes from bad to worse. Ewan currently on track down in 13th position and having a pretty rough time of it. We'll see what's going on here. We're getting the replay here from Ewan. What happened down here through the final couple of chicanes, and runs it off the racetrack, spins it, and what does he do here? He just gasses it up and tries to loop it, but got it caught up against the fence, and he tagged one. So that's why he got the penalty, because the action resulted in somebody else getting caught up as Callan Chin goes for the move at the top of the hill to grab second from Katsadonis.
And it definitely wasn't flat, so I've got it on the other monitor. But that was, he did have a compromised entry. So Callan up to second. Oh, we got another one. Glasspool, and that's Glasspool, and I don't know who the other car was there. Alex Court.
Motorsports Esports.
Oh, that looks like it needs a wheel alignment.
So Alex was having a pretty good run as well. He was inside the top 10. Let's check out what happened here. Side by side over the top of the hill.
Wide movement.
Wow. Oh dear. That's going to pretty much land firmly on Glasspool, I'd say.
Yeah, it really was. He was well out of control there.
Yeah, just pinballing across the racetrack is no bueno in any kind of race car, and unfortunately, it has cost Alex Court a lot in this race. Hopefully,
I think he ran out of talent a couple of corners ago there.
Yeah, that definitely did. It's sad to speak like that, but that is what it appears like what happened. And as we go back to the end,
that's race driver speak.
It is. Damon Woods.
I'm on board with Callan, and he's really hammering this, and very, 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 very on it. And he's got Damon Woods in his sights. And look, there's a lot of slower cars up in front there. Bit of lap traffic up ahead.
It might be the spanner in the works here for Damon Woods. And it might be about time where you'd start thinking whether you could pit early and try and dodge that lap traffic, because there is lead cars within 1 second of the racetrack. You can see it on the track map. There you go. There's 3 cars right there coming out of turn 4 and up the back straight. So it's only going to be the next lap or so that they're going to find themselves crawling all over the back of these cars.
How many minutes in are we? We're not very far in the race.
Yeah, we're just coming up to 1/3.
Oh, look at Chin here, right on the gearbox of Woods over the top. So he's actually flying. He's really putting some pressure on. And I think he has come from, what was he, 8th on the grid, Chris?
He was down there. He's up 5 spots right now. So he was P7 after this sprint race, having a bit of a close up under brakes into the final chicanes and onto the main straight. Callan Chin, he's going to have to toe now. The gap between them sits at 0.2 of a second coming onto the straight.
I think he's got a bit of a run here.
And then a bit quicker that time.
Gaining, and he's going to... Well, he's sitting in it.
Yeah, there's no point risking it so early in the piece, especially when you do have the pit stop that you still need to execute.
Yep.
And Kalen can just stay in touch with Damon and make him work for it, make him work that much harder, potentially force a mistake or make him use up the tyres a little bit more. That can be his undoing tonight. 29.5 minutes left to go down the back straight once again between Woods and Kalen Chin. How good is it to have this caliber of drivers in this season for the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Esports Cup? Round 4 here from Sandown, as we see a penalty for James Glasspool causing that incident. That's not a surprise from what we saw in that incident with Alex Court earlier.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a nasty one, but he was out of control and it was wide, and then he's trying to recover and it just got worse and worse and worse. Oh, whoa,
and it got worse again for
Glasspool around again.
Spun it coming out of it. That happened to Ewan Baker as well. And incidentally, just Ewan Baker zipping on past the camera shot there, and Glasspool's going to pull down the order even further.
Oof. And it looks like the weather's set in again, Chris, and we've got our 7th season of the day.
Good old Melbourne weather. Just making it happen for us here.
It's just hilarious. Every time you look up, it's different. Oh, now we've got a bit of a run again here by Kalen. He's gaining on him. He's going to pop the toe. No, he's going to sit right behind him. The thing is, it's very hard to drive right in the wheel tracks of somebody else because it obscures your view, your line of vision up ahead, whereas Damon's got clear road ahead. You know, it is hard to drive in somebody's wheel tracks.
It is very difficult to do that. And Kalen's an experienced operator. He's very good in the seat, but he'll pick his moments where he needs to just maybe lift off a little bit, sit back, especially when we're talking about how strong the toe is down the straights here. You can't get as much of an advantage if you're already buried under the gearbox of the guy in front of you. So if you give yourself a couple of tenths of a second buffer and you can get some closing speed on your opposition, that can actually make your job a little bit easier. So you'll see Kalen just coming onto the main straight a little bit further behind where he would
pointing the wrong way there.
Yeah, there's a couple caught up. And then that will
somebody else.
I'll tell you who it was. It was Scott Bartain and Nick Bottrell both showing down there. Bottrell facing the wrong way.
That could be a safety car,
teammates getting into each other.
That could very well be a safety car.
See here, he's trying to turn the car, it seems, for Nick Bottrell.
It's stuck.
Esports entry. What's happened here? Okay, so trouble for Bartain already. He's at it off.
Oh, that's
the car's
terrible low. Whoa.
So Scott spun it.
Safety car. We have a safety car, Chris.
Wow. And his teammate's just gone spearing in by himself. So the teammates both crashed on the same corner on their own accord, and that has triggered the safety car. So that's an interesting one.
Virtual Motorsport weekend of camping.
And look at this, a flurry of activity in the pit lane as the FRG safety car comes out of the pits, driven by Lachlan Capel. Now, we'll try not to put too much pressure on him tonight because he had a bit of trouble.
Let's hope he can keep him pointed the right way for a change, hey?
Poor guy. That will leave Zachary Smith to take over as your race leader. He must have missed the message or missed the memo. Let's look at this. Kalen Chin got the jump. Kalen got the jump on Damon Woods in pit lane and comes out in second as a result. Now, the car in front of him is not your race leader. That's Damien Cairns, who's a lap down and will eventually be admitted to class.
I thought he got it out of pit lane in front of the safety car, but obviously not. I thought he did. That'd be something going now. Ben Roberts, 17th, yes. Can he get back a lap? Can he get... No. But that's really interesting. Kalen Chin's got the jump. And unfortunately, I think Zachary Smith is going to lose that big time here.
Yeah, Zachary's going to really pay the ultimate price. And it's going to be...
He hasn't pitted already, has he?
I don't think Zachary has pitted already. So that will see him falling down. But if he has pitted, and I'm sure Luke's got that... no, Zachary Smith now goes into pit lane. So Zachary is going to fall a long way down the order as a result of that, and the whole field backing right up down the pit straight. Yeah, we'll take
So
the
now,
opportunity at the moment to really settle things down. We're going to bunch up the whole field. You can see we don't have many of them tucked up behind the FRG safety car
So
right
Smith looks like he's 9th, he's 7th. Here he comes down pit exit. Where's he going? Oh, I don't know how that works.
now. Well, it's where the cone is. Where's the cone?
Yeah, well,
that was the rules,
came
wasn't
back
it?
out. He came back out in 2nd place.
Well, from how the rule used to be in F3A, because I took full advantage of this rule
So he's dropping back. He's asking the question, obviously, now.
Where do I need to be? So let's see this. Watch this from Zachary Smith. He's going to grab his fuel up. Just follow this. Watch for the blue cone. Where does he end up? So green cone is the acceleration line. Now he can go as fast as he wants until he hits. That's the iRacing flag marshal. Where's the blue cone? It's going to be on the left-hand side of his screen. Coming up, coming up, coming up. He should theoretically slot in right behind Damon Woods, which would put him
looks like that to me. Yeah, but did he not overtake under safety car by passing those 2 cars in front, Chris?
Well, technically he did, but if he readdresses the situation, not knowing where he should be coming out of the lane.
I think he's asked the question. So
Yeah.
he is behind Woods and he's in P3. That was pretty cool.
There's a good look at the Melbourne weather. The sun's back out.
Oh, I'm over. No. I've got one screen that's sunny on and the other screen it's raining. This is typical Melbourne. Same lap, same cars, but 2 different weather conditions all at once.
And there's not even rain allowed in the
How do iRacing model it so perfectly?
You can see it is actually pretty stormy and cloudy from that other shot. So we've got sunshine looking down the back straight here. If we turn around going the other way, looking from the back, look at the clouds. Yeah, it's classic Melbourne. And a couple of wave
we got a bit of rain there.
Lou's having fun with this.
Yeah, he is.
Giving him the ammunition to keep going.
I saw Damien Cairns taking off on the right-hand side, and that's another one. I don't know who that is, but they're getting their wave by and going to get their lap back and back onto the lead lap. So I don't know who the second one was there, but they will now drive as fast as they can to get back round onto the tail of this before. So that's Damien Cairns, and behind him is...
I think it's Brody Shepherd was the other one that's trying
Brody
to get back
Shepherd.
on it. It is Brody on screen now.
Poor Vermilion guys have had a rough night tonight already, haven't they, really?
They have.
So
It's how it goes sometimes.
Yep. So we've got another lap with the safety car. That's another lap that Lachlan's got to keep it pointed the right way, by the way. Then we'll come back to green. So I imagine from somewhere up around the top of the hill at the back straight, Lachlan will put his foot down and clear away. We're looking at the, in the background, just as a matter of interest here, we've been looking at changing the restart procedure, Chris, so that rather than the driver in the lead getting the right, it's not for tonight. Tonight, Kaylin Chin will have control of this restart. But in the future, we're looking at race control taking control of the restart, and they will call green rather than the driver. Because in sim racing, you've got car-to-car communication. So Kaylin can talk to anybody else, or if you've got a Simrigs car there, they could all be on Discord together. And what they do is they'll say, okay, I'm going to go back to green in 1, 2, 3 now, and it gives all their teammates an advantage over the rest of the field. So what we're looking at doing is changing the way that works and taking the control of the restart back to race control. Hasn't been decided yet, but it's what they're looking at, because we modify rules and things as we go along, and we learn, and we all learn. But that would then allow race control, and they will call green somewhere in a sector zone. So it'll be from turn 8 till the finish. Somewhere in that zone, green will be called. Nobody knows when, and race control will call green instead of the driver. I think it's a good move.
I think it's a good move as well. And we talk about the possibility of having that car-to-car communication where you can help your teammates out as Lockie Capel gets away.
Keep it straight, Lockie. Keep it straight, baby.
We talk about the possibility of doing that. I'll tell you, we did it. We did it with the racecraft team in the F3A days.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying they've done the wrong thing. It's within the rules. But if you don't like what it does, then you can change the rules. So here we go. Kalen's going to working on this is where's he going to go? Because look how close Damon is behind him. Gee, and Damon got a great restart on the back of Kalen there.
He did.
Look, we've got sun glinting off the cars. We mustn't be in Melbourne anymore.
So Callan got on the gas immediately coming off the final corner, and Damon went right with him and staying in touch. They already broke away.
That's Katsanona straight off the road at turn 1 on cold tyres, I think.
It was Smith off the road. Katsonona's there in third. Worley will pick up the pieces and go to P4 as a result. Zachary Smith, after a great job surviving pit lane, goes from 3rd to 5th in the space of the opening corner on the restart. We're 19 minutes from home here into the second half of this race for the 4th round of the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Esports Cup. Down through the chicanes, hard charging Damon. Oh,
Damon's made a mistake. He's locked a brake and he's run wide and he's back to 4th place. It was interesting to see those two guys in the front because Callan drives to Wave Italy and Damon drives to Door Motorsport in Germany. So we've got a real international battle at the front. But that was just a little mistake there, and he's used a bit much curve, had to jump on them a bit hard, locked a brake, nearly hit the back of Callan. Gosh, that was close. And Worley and Katsononis jumped down the inside.
Ewan Baker now up to P10. He's looking up the inside, trying to move up one on Reece Marquette, so he might have to be really hard on the defensive side.
I hate seeing 2 abreast through here.
Yeah, it's a bit risky.
Doesn't fit.
Risky. As Baker's going to have to concede the position at the moment.
Oh, that looks like Bradley, yes, back in the fence. Sans wing, low downforce configuration for the rest of the race. Very quick in a straight line, but not much good through the corners. But he's unfortunately done a bit of damage there, and I'm still riding on board with Kalen. I can tell you that Kalen Chin is still leading this motor race, Chris, and doing a great job of it. But yes, that's not looking in good condition, is it? And he's going to, oh, look at that. It's got that nice sideways glint on it. It looks like a bit of crab, doesn't it? He'll try and get that back to pit lane. Hopefully he can get it down through Dandenong Road, because that's looking pretty ugly.
Unfortunate for Greg Bradley finding the fence at turn 3.
It turns left, okay.
What? Going to make it a bit interesting. It's the crab moving sideways.
I think that car's been drinking. It looks like me after I've had a few drinks.
It's a bit wild. We go back to the race at front. Is the wing still there? No, it's gone now. Oh, the wing was moving. The wing was jittering, sitting there by itself on the exit of turn 3. Callan Chin back in front from Katsononis, Worley, and then Damon Woods and Zachary Smith back to where he started, P5 on the racetrack right now with 16:45 left to go.
And our hot dog's back there in 6th. Come on, Jack. Bit more sauce, baby.
He's closed right up onto the back of Smith here, so we might be on for Jack Marrow. We'll go on board with him. I love this shot coming out of turn 9.
Jack's a great character. One of our real characterful drivers, always having a laugh, loves his motorsport and loves a joke and a laugh. His sponsorship and some of the stuff is fantastic. Jack, New Zealander, you're welcome here anytime you feel like it, mate.
He's been a bit of a stalwart of the series of FRG for quite some time, as he's looking at a run on Smith, who sees him coming from a mile away. Zach Smith just moves over just a little bit, slightly to the left, to ward off that advance. As the similar thing starting to unfold here between 2nd and 3rd. Tom Katsononis and Phil Worley about to get monstered by Damon Woods, who is looking very patient right now. You look at where he's placing the car on the racetrack, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of urgency to try and get past these guys again.
The thing is, the guys in front, it's a bit like the DRS train. It's the tow train here, because they're all in the slipstream of each other, and so it's hard to get a slipstream when the guy in front's got one already. So, but Damon you'll see him trying to line up the exits of corners here. As I say, you'll see him drop back a little bit here. He'll hang back, and he'll try and drive this out of here and get a bit of a run on him. And looks like we've got a little bit of gaining speed. And that's what he's trying to do, is get that gaining speed on the exit of the corner, so then he can work the toe. I reckon, is he going to have a go down the inside? I think he is, but no, not close enough.
He just backed on out of it. That's a smart piece of driving there from Damon Woods.
And here you'll see him back out again. He won't go through here two abreast. He'll hang back, and he hangs back. Oh, it got a bit close, got a little bit too close, see, and then you can't get the run. So it wants to be about a car and a half length back as you turn into that last corner and try and get a little bit of mid-corner speed on the guy, so you come out with a couple of miles an hour on them, then you can use the toe and then you can get past.
Ewan Baker and Reece Margetts going side by side up the back straight. Margetts has the inside line. Ewan has been looking for. He was in this position during the sprint race, but this time they just squeak through side by side, and Ewan says, you know what, you can have that, I'll be fine, and settles back in behind him. Zach Smith in P5 under pressure.
Somebody ran there. Was that one of the leaders?
It was. It's Worley off the road.
So now Woods is back on the podium.
Let's see what happened here for Worley coming down towards that final chicane. Did he lock it up?
He lost himself over the curb. Easy to do. Very easy to do. And you've really got to clobber that curb to get a quick lap. So, yeah, Callan Chin's coming up on a lap car here. And I think it looks like Greg Bradley up in front. I wouldn't be too concerned. Greg's a very, very well experienced driver, and he will get out of their way. He will not interfere with this. But he's looking in the mirror going, oh my God, look what's coming.
Well, Greg himself has had a bit of a rough night. So has Andrew Johnston in the two Andreg entries. And so I'm sure he'll be...
They say in Speedway, you never paint a car green, Chris. These two guys have got green cars. So, is there something in that? I reckon they should change the paint colour for next week. Andrew, get painting on your cars. Get rid of the green. Make them orange, red, pink, any other colour. Let's see if a change in colour can change your luck.
Well, let's see if they bring out the same paint scheme they've got on the S5000s that you so lovingly have have watched that. As we go back, check this out. Baker still going at it with Margetts for P9, but he just can't get it past him. This is a great fight. Now Rogers wants a piece of it. Oh dear, and Rogers stuffed it up the inside.
That was a real low percentage move. Luckily, nobody's got major damage. Who's that?
Oh, Worley around again.
Worley again. And Ewan Baker pointed the wrong way on the exit there. That's Ewan Baker with a damaged car going up the back straight. I can see up ahead. See him on the left?
Well, what's happened here? Because they're a fair ways away. Worley going through the chicane by himself.
I think Worley's probably lost it, and he has.
There and has continued the slide. Parks it right on the race line, and Baker spun it out of sympathy and backed it into the fence.
And he's broken the
Baker.
Left
and Benny Roberts. No, Benjamin.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Caught up in another incident further down from where he was running after coming off. What's happened? We might see it.
Poor old Ben, ever since he's stopped being a privateer of his own accord and joined a team, has had absolutely zero luck.
Well, what's happened here for Ben Roberts? He spun. And he just gets clobbered by a 69 car coming through. Riley McKibben said, move on out of the way, coming through, and just rides the wheel, and Benny Roberts' night goes from bad to worse.
And I see Greg Bradley's just pulled over to the left and let the leaders straight by up the back straight. So very, very nice. As I said, I knew he would. I wonder whether I'm wondering here whether Riley is on a single monitor and he just hasn't seen him, because some of the guys still race on a single monitor and doesn't give you any peripheral vision. It's a bit rare these days. Most people have got VR or triple monitors, but that looked like a single monitor issue to me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it's cost them both big time in this feature race, and puts a bit of a sour taste in your mouth. There's Caleb Dawson trying to defend P8 from Harry Lawrence here. Goes around
the outside.
That's a robust move there from Lawrence. And Alex Court trying to get
bold and robust. That's exactly right. It was a very confident move, Chris. He had no doubts he was going to pull it off, I can tell you. But, I'm not sure I would have done that one. Would he have done that in the real world? I wonder.
No way. Absolutely not. Would you have even thought about doing the move like that in the real world?
And here we go. The challenge for second place. Woods up the inside of Katsudonis. He's done it again. He's got that run up that back straight, hasn't he? Oh, and there's that jump over the curb there. Just keeping two wheels on the curb, so it's not an off track.
That puts Woods up into second now. Katsudonis.
There's a good 2-second gap there.
Kind of defenseless back there watching on, but I think Caitlin Chin has already broken the back of this battle, getting away from earlier. This is still going on, red hot further back though. Caught right in the middle of it. Alex is up 3 spots from where he was in the sprint race and is right in the thick of a good old-fashioned dogfight in these F4 cars down the main straight, tucking into the toe right behind Harry Lawrence as we right on board. Now Alex has to go around the outside and Dawson is trying to chase him, but there's no move to be made there, and that will seed them exactly as they are. But again, Lawrence is immediately back on the defensive line coming down towards turn 2.
And we see there, Riley McKibben's been given a drive-through penalty for that incident with Ben Roberts there on the inside, not giving him room. Because he was on the road, he wasn't rejoining, he had rejoined, he was driving down the inside. So, you know, he wasn't given the room that he had earned on the racetrack. So, Riley McKibben's got a drive-through, which is unfortunate, but that's what happens. I'm really impressed with Harry Lawrence tonight. He's been as tough as nails and very, very, what's that? Robust is that word of yours, Chris. Very robust in his driving tonight. It's good. He's really asserting himself on the track. You know, he's still top 8. I think he could have been a bit higher up with a bit of luck.
Rob Bowden doing a nice job of it in the Tanked SRT entry. He's currently P5 on the racetrack, just behind Zachary Smith, and holding off a hard-charging fan favourite of Jack Narra, the hot dog, sitting back there in P6 as they come out of the turn 2-3 chicane.
You know, you could consider it a wiener and a roll.
Depends on whether it's cold, then it's a Frankfurt as Bowden climbs up the hill towards
or a Bratwurst.
the fastest part of the racetrack at turn 6. This gets pretty dicey through here, the way these cars like to move around with their ever low downforce configuration. It's almost flat chat as they tend to disregard the curbing at turn 7 and just glide over the top of it and dive down into turn 9. This happening as well for Bailey Evans, who's tucked up behind Dawson right now. Watch him just dart over the top of the curbing at 7, and then Evans goes for a late dive. Oh, and someone was off the road as well.
Off the road in front.
Went off the road. So Alex Court losing out there, and he's going to rejoin right in front of Paul Rogers, who's down in P12 right now. So big lose there for Court and a big gain for Bailey Evans. He's up into the top 10.
And there's Callan Chin sitting right out in front, smoothly going through. Let's remember, Chris, he started off P7, so he's come through those leaders to grab this lead, and I think that's a really impressive little drive. And, you know, Woods is now setting about trying to catch him, but I think Callan's got the speed. I really do. He's got 1.6 seconds. He's lost 4 tenths. What have we got? 6 minutes to go. I think he can hold this one off. Katsudonis, he's looking pretty secure in third. I think our podium's pretty... They've got one hand on the trophies, let's face it.
I think I'd be willing to side with you there, as Bowden wants to argue about it for P5 with Zach Smith in P4. That got a bit hairy down in the roller coaster section, 6, 7, 8, and turn 9. Bowden stays back in P5. We saw on the chart that Damon Woods was just slowly but surely catching Caitlin Chin by a margin of, a tenth and a half a lap or so. We'll see what the lap times are as they come across. That time by 108.9 for Caitlin, 108.8 for Damon. So the gap comes down a little bit again, 1.45 tenths of a second. But he's starting to run out of laps and time, isn't he? 5.5 minutes left to go, and Damon Woods is probably left thinking that if he had got back to the front a little bit earlier, or simply not made that mistake, it's going to be... could have been a different story. As we're copping some news that Callan Chin, it's his first time ever driving on this track, and he's found himself at the pointy end. That's the talent that this kid is. He's leading the way with just over 5 minutes 10 left to go, and having a great time of it out front from Damon Woods in second.
Now, Chris, he was in the Junior Academy racing on the weekend, and refresh my mind, was he 15 or 16 years old?
I think 15 for Callan, if If my
Yeah,
memory
and
serves
then
me
Damon's
correctly.
17. These are young guys, really young guys at the front, and they're sensational.
They're absolute talents. I've had some great
And I do
nights.
think Damon Woods has got quite an old head on shoulders when it comes to, he's got a motor racing head. You know, he's smart. He doesn't get involved in things. You see him keep hanging back, and then suddenly he's past them and you go, gee, he did that without any drama. There's no trouble. There's no diving around the inside, no banging wheels. He's just set the guy up and he's worked on where he can get him and where he can get the run and get past. You know, it's smart driving. And here's another nice little move down the inside. I think you pulled that one off. Yep.
Good send
Well done.
from Paul Rogers.
Well done, Paul. That was a lovely little move down the inside, but you got to cover it. Oh,
Wow. Alex
Yeah,
Court
wing
looks
in
like he
there.
was going to go spearing right into the right-hand rear tyre of Rogers there. Luckily,
this looks like the
backed
hot
out
dog.
of it.
The hot dog's on the move, Chris.
Mara going for the
He's
move.
trying
It's
hard, and I think
part
he's.
of the racetrack.
I think he's got that. Yes.
assertively parks the right front tyre in front of Rob Bowden and drops Rob down to P6. So Jack having a good drive inside the top 5 here at Sandown with 3.5 minutes left to go. Rob Bowden's going to be steaming up to that as
sideways
Jack
there.
lights
Now
up
he's
the tyres.
now he's going to lose his speed down the straight. All that good work is about to come undone for that one little mistake there. I don't. Is he going to be able to hold it off down here or not? Someone going to take a dive? No, I think he's held it off. He's lucky he held it off. I thought he was going to lose all the advantage he'd gained. Oh, and he's over the curb. That darn curb again. The big high curb. You see him here. He'll just get a little sideways and lose all his momentum.
Bit of a wild ride there for Jack Mara. He's getting the elbows out, trying to chase a top 5 run here for the 4th round of the championship. Andrew Johnston a little bit further back in P16. He's had an up and down evening, hasn't he?
Yep, you could say Mara's trying to snag 5th place, you know.
Riley McKibben, we saw him a little bit earlier, cop that penalty. He's about to go a lap down to these guys. Look at him fighting it out down the
This
hill.
is a great
Mara
fight.
still
These guys are both having a ball here. They're having lots of fun. You can see it in the way they're driving. They're flinging the thing all over the road. And I reckon Rob will be absolutely enjoying this. This is what they love. Just love racing. A lot of these guys, they're not doing it for money. They're not doing it for trophies. They're doing it because they damn well love it.
That's what it's all about. That's why we're here. With 2 minutes and 15 to go. Mara trying to hold on to P5. Bowden just stalking him. Has a bit of a run in the toe, but can't get onto his gearbox. Into turn 1 they come. They're coming up behind a bit more of that lap traffic. Zachary Smith has done a nice job to break the back of that little battle and hold on to P4 as Paul Rogers looking for a line up the inside. That's going to get pretty tight between the teammates. Rogers and Dawson. The 75 Sim Sports entries, and it's going to see Rogers go down to P11. Dawson getting the elbows out through the first couple of corners.
They're going to be in the team manager's office after this race, aren't they? Called to the headmaster, they will be. So now what's the gap now? 1.5. Kalen's really holding steady. He's holding that lead. Ooh, who's that off the road? That's Rob Bowden off the road.
I wonder what's happened there for Bowden. He still holds on to P6. We're going to get a shot at it here. So he tried to go up the inside, got the job done before the corner. Did he overexert himself?
Oh,
Yep.
you lost a little bit on that curb in the middle, wide on the dirt. What a sausage.
Good save, though.
Yeah.
Decent save. Kept it together.
Great save. Great
1.5
save.
seconds is the gap for the race lead right now. Callan Chin has
We've got 50
consolidated
seconds
that.
to go, Chris.
Yeah,
So it should be, is that white flag? It'll be white flag this time round, and they'll be on their last lap. And I think our podium's looking pretty safe because you got Smith is sort of 5 seconds back on Katsadonis. So I think we've got Kalen for the win, Damon in second, consolidating his lead, and Tom Katsadonis is going to pick up a well-deserved third, I reckon. But there's a lap to go. Anything can happen, and it usually does in motor racing.
I think they're going to be white flagged this time by then for Kalen Chin. Watch Barney. There he is, waving the whites. Airing the laundry for us.
Always looks like he's trying to hammer something down, doesn't it? He's just smacking them down. Smack it down, Barney.
One day the iRacing animators will get back on the task of finishing him off, I'm sure. As Chin starts his final tour of the Sandown International Raceway. 3.1 kilometers separating him, and a win here tonight for the 4th round of the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Esports Cup. After he took the win last week as well, he's going to take out the Aussie round doubleheader fortnight in fine form, and really helps him tip his hat into the ring in a championship bid as we come up towards the halfway point of this F4 championship, with 5-6 rounds to go after tonight, despite losing out, not attending the first round as Rogers is off the road. I think Callan's going to have a great crack at it as well as he comes into the final couple of corners. What a drive it's been from Callan Chin. He struggled a little bit in the sprint, got back onto it, and moves up 6 spots to claim a very tidy win over the top of Damon Woods across the line. Tom Katsadonis, a tidy drive as well, back to 3rd as the top few cars spread right around the circuit from Zachary Smith home in P4. Jack Mara, the hot dog, home in P5. Rob Bowden survives at the end there to come home P6. Reese Margette's P7. Harry Lawrence across the line in P8. From Bailey Evans, up a few spots, up 9 spots to come home P9. And Alex Court celebrates with a bit of a slide across the line to round out your top 10.
Phil Worley there in 11th place. That's a disappointing finish for Phil because he really was up the front and on the pace. So here we go. Germany and Italy up the back straight, and Italy won this time, boys. So it's pasta tonight.
Pasta tonight, you say? I wonder what I'm having tonight, actually.
Will Ryan, good job there. Good job there from Will Ryan getting back up into P13 as well. He had another guy who had a tough night tonight.
Oh, it can be like that.
There we go. Look at that.
Week. There's a look at your final results.
Feel a little sorry for the Vermilion Motorsport guys tonight, Chris. They've had a really tough night there. Brody Shepherd and every time we saw a Vermilion Motorsport car, it was in trouble, and that's sad to see because those guys turn out beautiful cars and they're great racers and a real benefit to the series. So anyway.
So there's a look at your final results. Callan Chin taking the win by almost 1.5 seconds over Damon Woods back there in P2. Tom Katsadonis rounds out the podium in the Simrigs entry, with Zachary Smith and Jack Mara rounding out your top 5. Bowden had a little bit of a stressful time towards the end of the race for Rob, but he comes home P6 in the Tanked SRT entry over Reese Margetts and Harry Lawrence. Bailey Evans up 9 spots, the biggest mover and shaker inside the top 10 to come home P9. From Alex Court surviving the race to come home P10. From Phil Worley, as you said, Dave, a bit of a disappointing night for him, down 7 spots from where he started after getting caught up on track in P11. From Brody Shepherd, Will Ryan, Andrew Johnston, and Brody Tressiter. Over Paul Rogers and Caleb Dawson, they were both running inside the top 10 at some point, both ending up 16 and 17 together. Over Riley McKibben, who got that penalty earlier in the race, the first driver a lap down in P18. And there's a quick scroll through the rest of your finishing order, the last few on the racetrack. Benny Roberts, what a shocker of a night for him after showing so well in qualifying and leading the sprint race to ultimately finish 23rd down 13 laps. And I'm pretty sure he sat there in the pit lane and just let it be what it was. As we're going to take the chance now to drag in our top 3 from the green room and park them up with us in the broadcast studio. We'll start with your winner tonight, Callan Chin. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you. That was a hell of a race. I have to give credit to Damon there for not only the setup, but for putting me on edge that entire last 10 minutes. I was pushing like hell, and yeah, it was such a fun race coming back from 6th as well at start, and I hope it was enjoyable for those watching.
What did you have to try and talk yourself through when you knew you were going to start so far back in the feature? Is it just a matter of playing the long game, kind of picking your moments and taking those opportunities that present themselves?
Yeah, I was just trying to get into the zone, you know, pick him off one by one. try and not do anything too risky. Because it was that early on, and yeah, it worked out beautifully. Like, it took, I don't know how many laps, but you know, just picked them off one by one, waited for them to make a mistake, and the opportunity presented themselves. And yeah.
How about the that pit stop? It came at a perfect time. You guys were able to all dive into the pit lane, and you almost beat the safety car back out.
Yeah, it came out like right as we were entering the last corner, and I had autofill on, and because I realized that the safety car would minimize the amount of fuel we'd use, I decreased like 2 liters, and that probably gave me the edge over Damon, and that's why I jumped him.
A smart bit of thinking on the run.
We were questioning that. How did you manage to jump him in the pit lane? But that answers the question. Well, a job well done tonight, mate. So you seem to be tipping your hat into the ring to try and challenge Damon for the lead in this championship.
I'll try. He's certainly a very quick driver, so we'll see as the season goes on. It's a long season, and hope we can have a good championship battle.
We're just watching the replay right now of your pit lane antics, and you can see you stop early and you stop just behind the safety car, and you managed to be in the fast lane, and you completely cleared Damon before he even started moving. So a stroke of brilliance in the pit lane, and that gave you the advantage. Well done.
Thank you.
We'll move on then. Second place, Damon Woods, who's probably hearing all of that and thinking, damn, why didn't I do that? Congratulations tonight, mate. Second place on the road.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that the fuel stop kind of screwed me over a little bit there, but yeah, I just wasn't really thinking on my feet like Kalen was, and yeah, I didn't reduce the fuel, obviously, so, you know, hurts a little bit, but I mean, I think ultimately what cost me in the end was my talent failure going to Dandy Road and locking the front and almost wiping Kalen out in the process.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, it was very close.
You did a good job to save it there. Talk to us about the start as well. It seemed to be somewhere you might have lacked a little bit tonight.
Yeah, no, that was just also a talent failure. Completely missed the bite point on the clutch, so yeah, we'll regroup and hopefully we don't bolt another start for the rest of the season.
That's it's usually a good goal to have there. A great recovery nonetheless. You didn't seem too phased once you were back there in P4. You weren't really pushing crazy hard to, you know, urgently get back to the pointy end. What's the story there? Is that just playing the long game for yourself?
Well, I knew I had gotten past Phil and Tom at the start of the race, so I know I could do it again, so I wasn't too, you know, fussed trying to make a big send on Phil to start with and causing a crash. So yeah, unfortunately, you know, he spun and then I had to work very hard to catch Tom back up, and then yeah, obviously Tom made a mistake towards the end, which dropped me off the back of Kalen as well. So yeah, it was that last 10 minutes was just flat out pushing. You know, I got the gap down from 2.2 or something like that to, you know, 1.3 at the end, but yeah, no, Kalen and I were separated by nothing. I think at one point we did a lap that was within 0.004 of each other. So we were pretty much identical on race pace. And, you know, when you're racing someone as good as him, you know, it's, yeah, it can be quite strenuous.
It's a solid drive nonetheless, mate. Good haul of points for the championship tonight. And you can walk away from the Australian doubleheader with your head held high as the championship leader. Yes,
yeah, we'll take it. Unfortunate that, you know, yeah, last week happened and the old heroics into Santa Vod into Honda hairpin, but, you know, we'll come back stronger at Watkins Glen.
Good stuff, mate. We'll move on now. Just hold the line. We'll go to Tom Katsadonis. Tom, a great drive, great racing to be on the podium tonight.
Yeah, no, it's good to finally be here after being kicked out of the podium through various circumstances in round 1 and 2. So it's good to finally get a result. Funnily enough, it's on the race where I feel like my pace was definitely the weakest. I wasn't as prepared as I hoped, but I just made very minimal mistakes and things just seemed to unravel around me today, and I got fairly lucky, to be honest, to be able to just end up in that position. And yeah, from there it was just a matter of keeping my nose clean, and I knew Damon and Kalen definitely had a pretty big pace advantage, especially in a straight line. It was pretty nuts watching them just walk away on the straight, especially and through sector 1 I was pretty weak as well. So when Damon came to pass me, I knew not to make too much of a fuss of it and just hang in there because I knew the podium was pretty much on if I just kept it clean.
So do you think that
Tuesday,
extra straight line speed was a bit less wing they were running, or?
Yeah, I would. They definitely would be. Is the way you get the straight line speed with this car is to drop the wing level a little bit, but then also obviously then you have to be comfortable running less downforce. So there's always a trade-off, but they definitely got the balance right today. And if they're able to drive comfortably with the zero wing, then they deserve to be up ahead.
That speaks volumes for what they could do there. Well, congratulations nonetheless. Home in third tonight. Who do you have to thank for the efforts?
The boys at DPR have been really nice with making me a guest driver for them for this series, helping me out with setups and telemetry. So it's been really good to be able to run with people that know what they're doing and help each other out. And my main team, ATRS Esports, for always supporting me. So yeah, it's been a good run.
Great stuff. We look forward to seeing you at the next round at round 5.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
To second place then, Damon Woods. Who do you have to thank tonight?
As always, I'd like to thank Dur Esports, VRS, Recaro, JBL, Tailored Rig, Arima Sportswear, and SX Group, and Kalen for the good racing tonight. Really enjoyed that thoroughly.
Fantastic stuff. Looking forward to round 5 to see you guys going at it again.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a bit more of a lottery track, so it could be quite fun.
Quite a slipstream track, isn't it? So, you're not going to get anybody out of your slipstream there. It's always going to be a bit of pack racing. I love Watkins Glen. I think these cars will be great there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a Daytona special, to be honest.
Can't wait then. Looking forward to it. And to your winner, Kalen Chin, congratulations again, mate. Who do you have to thank?
Well, firstly, obviously, I always have to thank my family. My mom, my dad, always supporting me, and they always watch every one of my races. I have to thank Damon, of course, for the setup and for such a great race. And lastly, I also have to thank my friends who were watching and cheering me on as well.
Great stuff, mate. And I'm tipping it early that a new championship contender is emerging. The fact that you guys are mates, though, might tell the story here. But looking forward to seeing you guys battle it out in round 5 coming up soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. And it's going to be a long season, so hopefully we'll have a lot of on-track battles and no incidents as well.
That's the best time. Well, thank you, gents, for joining us tonight for round 4 of the Motorsports Australia FIA F4 Esports Cup, driven by FRG. Dave, next week we go racing back with the Ray Racing cars, Formula Ford 1600. Where are we off to next time?
We're off to Phillip Island, and it is also precursor. That same week is the National Championship, the Real World, at Phillip Island as well. So you'll see the guys hit it out here on Tuesday night and then head off down to Phillip Island for the Friday, Saturday and Sunday in their real cars. So it's one of those beautiful, what I call quasi sort of showdown to the real round. So we'll look forward to that next week.
Ahead of yourself, because next week we're at Oran Park.
Oh, that's right, I am. We've got Oran Park next week. I'm looking. It's the one after us, Phillip Island.
Yeah, getting a bit ahead of yourself on the calendar there,
What an
Dave.
awesome... And Oran Park, fantastic track, a real Formula Ford track. One of my favourites in the real world on a Formula Ford. So, we look forward to seeing that. That'll be wild.
Can't wait for that. That's next Tuesday night. And of course, the Formula Ford Championship is an open grid every week. So if you'd like to pre-register and get involved, go find Formula Racing Group on Facebook and get involved, because you could be racing with us in one of the silver or the gold split next Tuesday night live on Race Stars TV. To Rue and Ty and Lockie and the team in the background for making things happen on FRG, and to Luke from Race Stars TV for doing the broadcast, thank you very much. We'll see you next Tuesday night for Formula Fords.